Okay, Brian, I want to use you as my check pilot. Acorns are falling on us here. Third time's a charm today. So, all right, the online written exam, I did take that the other day. And so Cap R 70-4 and supplements, that is rules on how we get qualified and the rules that we have to follow, given the qualifications that we have. So it's all the rules that we got to follow for cap-related policies, flying unmanned aircraft. The flight release procedures, we have a training mission in Wimmers, and we have created a sortie, and so we will upload our Form 109 at the conclusion of this. Part of the flight release procedures is going into Wimmers and uploading a ORM. Our ORM score, what I say, was 16. So I can self-release, basically, is what I'm saying. Cap R 76-1, been rescinded, so there's really nothing to talk about there. Emergency procedures, if I have a fire in flight, we got paved asphalt over here. I want to try to land as quickly as I can on that so that we don't catch anything on fire. In the event that we had a flyaway, I want to reboot the controller and hope that I regain connectivity. If not, we're going to maintain visual line of sight and try to follow this aircraft to the best of our ability. If we lose it, we're going to notify authorities and the reporting system. Electronic flight log. As you've seen, I keep my flight log in Microsoft Excel, but we are going to log mine and Devin Nordell. We're going to share a Form 109 today, and we will upload those on Wimmers later once we have completed our Form 5s. Certificates and documents. I've got my SUAS license, and I am still current with doing the online annual recurrency. Obtaining weather information. So we got clear skies, 10 miles of visibility or better. It's, what do we say, 11 knots on wind? 13 knots. So we are still within our range. With the X2D, manufacturer recommends not flying in 23 knots or greater. I know we've flown in 40, so I'm not too worried about the winds today. Weight and balance, I'm flying it pretty much stock from the factory. The only thing that we've added was the RID module, but it's not enough to throw off the weight and balance. It's stock camera, so there shouldn't be anything to deviate that. Can I borrow your phone to demonstrate a Lance filing?
Yes.
I would use my phone, but it's recording me.
That's on AirHub.
Okay, on AirHub. I use AirMap, but when it loads up, well, I tell you what, I'll walk you through verbally what I did. Here's your phone back. Thank you. On AirMap, in my case, I load up AirMap, I scroll down to missions, I scroll it up. When I switch over to the weather tab, there's a tab for Lance, and that's where I tap. For today's purposes, I don't see a need going 100 feet, so we're clear. We are in Class E airspace, so we don't have any restrictions that we need to be worried about. If we were closer to the Joplin Airport or Springfield Airport, that's a Class C, we would need to 90 days prior file with the FAA saying we're doing such and such mission, and we'd have to get approval from them. Aircraft systems, so we are using the Skydio X2D. It's down here on the ground. My camera doesn't seem to want to tilt down, but okay, it's there. I've got the controller here. Aeromedical factors, I'm safe. Blood sugar is 289, so I'm a little higher than I'd like to be, but I'm good. I'm not gonna pass out. You're safe?
I'm safe.
Okay, Devin's safe. So Devin is going to be my observer today. Visual inspection. So, hey, focus on me. We have the RID module on here. It's on, it's got signal. I've got all 4 of these locked, so we don't have any rotors. I want to check all 3, 6, 9, 18, 9, however many rotors. I can't add today. Motors free to rotate. These propellers, they all look good. These propellers look good. These propellers, all 3 look good. All the motors are rotating around. We got lenses on the bottom, here and here. They're all clean, free of debris. I noticed on the questionnaire, they're now asking visual sensing. This aircraft has 360-degree sensing, object sensing. I don't see any cracks, nicks, or dents on the actual airframe itself. The battery itself isn't bulging. It's not cracked. Looks good. Got a full charge. Antenna secure. Camera secure. It's moving freely. So I'd say the aircraft is ready for flight. Probably later we will either land on this table or the asphalt over there. This has got a downhill slope and I'm not comfortable with that. Okay. So, starting the engines. Hey, come back over here. Focus on me. So, starting engines, there's a physical button that we can. There we go. We can press and hold and it'll fill up the circle and make the motor start, or we can actually just touch on the screen and it'll fill up the circle, the motors will start and the aircraft will lift off. We are going to set the aircraft probably on the table for takeoff, probably maybe over here on the asphalt. We are standing under a tree. I'm pretty confident the aircraft would take straight off and not hit the tree, but we're not going to push our luck with it. Sensor operation, once again, it's got 360-degree object sensing. So use of checklist, mandatory. So it's the aircraft's manufacturer's checklist here. We'll find our page that has the checklist. Operational user guide. All right, check the charge level on the batteries and controller. We did. Batteries on the controller are full, and batteries on the aircraft are full, and the batteries on the RID module are full. We've already removed the aircraft from the base. We've already performed our pre-flight inspection of the aircraft. We've already flipped out the arms and locked them into place. We've already got a battery already on the aircraft. It's fully charged. We're going to place the aircraft on a clean, flat location. We'll do this here in just a minute. Remove the controller from the case. It's on my neck strap, as you can see. Flip up the controller, press the power button for 5 seconds, turn the controller on. After controller powers up, type in password to access flight controls. By the way, Devin, you were asking what the password is. It's on the checklist. Press and hold the power button on the X2D battery for 3 seconds to begin powering up the X2D. When connection to the X2D is confirmed on controller, press the fly screen button at the middle. Basically, it's telling you how to launch the thing. I probably should have answered this in the aircraft systems. For my Form 5 today, I'm going to be using skills, not QGC. So I'm going to skip the QGC checklist because we're not using that right now. All right. So yeah, the rest of this is going through QGC, and we're not using that today. I want to prove that I know how to fly my aircraft. So, completing mission, return, record flight data. All right, so that concludes that checklist. While I have it, we're gonna skip thank you. We're gonna skip, this is the UIF log. So we just basically did an inspection so we could pretty much put in a new date. And I'm gonna fight with the wind a little bit. The rest of this basically has good night. We have a little bit of a breeze today. All right, so here's our aircraft checklist. So once we're done flying today, provided that we get to fly successfully, we'll put in entries here. There are brain diarrhea. Blank Form 109s here, but we've already got one filled out. There's also another quick reference guide in here, and here's an ORM matrix. Like I said, we've already done our ORM. We got a 16 on our score today. UIF, we have one. Okay. Crew briefing. Devin, you're going to be my visual observer on this. What we're going to do is pretty much when I start doing the flying portion, I'm just going to have you kind of read the maneuvers, and we're going to probably take off and land over here on the asphalt, but we're going to fly over this ball field here. And I'm going to milk it out because I got to fly for 20 minutes. So there's our crew briefing, Brian. Once we get done, we'll land over here on the asphalt because it's clear and open, and we will record battery percentage on the Form 109. Would you mind doing the 109 while I'm flying today? Yes. Okay, thank you. Sterile area procedures. We did just have a vehicle show up, but they don't seem to be bothering us, so I'm not going to get too worried about it. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of other activity around here today, so I'm okay with that. Post-flight procedures. Once we land the aircraft, before I shut down the aircraft, we're going to record battery percentages, and we're going to do a post-flight inspection, make sure that we didn't have any damage while we flew a few straight lines out here. Radio communication and phone contacts. I've I've got phone numbers stored in my phone. Hopefully don't need that today. I do have an aviation radio in my truck. I don't think we're close enough to an airport to even pick up a signal, so not too worried about it. But we have it available. Airport traffic patterns. Once again, we're not close enough to an airport, so that shouldn't even be a factor today. But we would want to know that if we are near an airport, where are manned aircraft, coming in on approach. We don't want to be interfering with manned aircraft coming in or departing. So, I don't need to talk about crosswind takeoff or climb because that's fixed wing only, or team ground launch, fixed wing only, so we're going to skip that. Normal takeoff and climb. So when I take off here in a minute, I'm going to take off. I'm going to climb about 20, probably going to climb to about 30 or 40 feet today because I want to make sure that we're clear of these trees. And what I want to do is make sure that we are flying in mode 2 on the controller. So I want to push the right stick forward a little bit, make sure it flies forward, pull it back, make sure it goes backwards, make sure it flies left, make sure it flies right, make sure that my left stick, pushing it forward makes it climb, pulling it back makes it come down, and left yaw's left and right yaw's right. Night flight operations, it's daytime, so we're not going to be able to do a whole lot of that. Physiological aspects of night flying, it's going to be harder to see. You don't want to have a bunch of lights on and then try to follow the aircraft because you're going to have to adjust for bright lights and then not bright lights. You're going to really have to have an observer, so somebody is maybe watching the screen. I would personally feel more comfortable watching the screen while my observers are watching the aircraft, but you don't want to flip back and forth because looking at a screen, you're going to be adjusting the light and then looking away from the screen. One, you got to go find your aircraft, and two, you got to get your eyes to adjust to the darkness. Preparation and personal equipment. So, 30 minutes prior, try not to have too many lights on so that, you're adjusted. I like having those that look like little hockey pucks. They got little lights rotate around. I like putting those around in a circle. We did that with FEMA, and it makes landing and takeoff a lot easier because where, when you're looking at the camera on the aircraft, you can find your lights a lot easier. We got vests, airport and aircraft lighting. We will have lights on. For nighttime flying, I prefer to take off, get 20, 30 feet in the air, then turn the strobes on. That way I'm not blinding myself or my observers. And then same thing in reverse when I'm coming in for landing. We'll come down to where we're 20, 30 feet above ground. We'll turn the strobes off. I'll call out landing, and then we'll land the aircraft with the strobes off. That way we're not blinding people. Night orientation, navigation. I don't remember what that's asking, but I will say that as we're coming in, we will have a little bit different landing pattern. Instead of coming in like a regular airplane and descending, we will come over the landing area and then come down. That way we're not colliding with light poles, trees, buildings, whatever objects we have in the area. All right, emergency approach and landing. Whatever the problem is, we're going to try to land this aircraft as quickly as possible, and I want to fly in the most direct line possible to get this thing on the ground in the safest area possible. If it's a fire, I want to go for the asphalt over here. If it's something else coming loose on the aircraft, I want to land it out here in the field as quickly as I possibly can. System and equipment malfunction. I pretty much just explained that. We're going to get this aircraft down on the ground as quickly as possible. Emergency descent. Your left stick, pull that closer to you. That should bring it straight down. So I sure swore that this X2D had an emergency kill switch, but I have gone through the manual and I cannot find that it has one. So, Brian, you and I may need to have a conversation on that here in the near future. Vigilance, risk management, and judgment. Uh, we got a little bit of breeze today, but it's nothing that this aircraft or myself can't handle. Uh, Risk management, we're going to look at what all risks we have here, and we're going to either eliminate the risk or figure out a game plan if we have to. In judgment, I mean, obviously the parking lot's pretty much empty, but if there were a lot of people here, I would say, or weather just gets bad, yeah, let's not fly. Let's do it another day. Battery management. Controller has a full battery, aircraft has a full battery, and the RID module has a full battery. My phone has a full battery to record this flight. So once I land, I will announce the battery level of the aircraft, and we will record that on the Form 109, and we will upload that to Wimmers later. Use of crew resource management. I mean, we've already discussed, you're going to keep my log for me and keep an eye on the aircraft while I'm flying. So, ground handling procedures. We're going to keep the aircraft off until we're ready to take off. And we got some people coming over here, so I'll probably maybe move over here and we'll launch. Use of risk management, go, no go. We've gone through our checklist. Our ORM score is 16, so I can release as the pilot. Winds are not outside of my ability or the aircraft's ability. There's no security threat here, so we're safe. I believe at this point we just need to do the flight. So on the straight and level flight, I want to fly forward, I want to fly backward, I want to turn it 90 degrees. We're going to rinse and repeat. I'm just going to try to milk this 20 minutes out the best that I can. If you would, sir. There's a checklist, or you've got one there too, so here, just set down. I'm sorry. We'll take it over here.
You know, say that there. Yes, you did.
So the last person that had this had it set up for a scan, and so I got to get out of the exit. Flight. Okay. So I'm disabling indoor flight. Height ceiling 390. I'll go ahead and leave it there. We shouldn't be that high, but in case we have bird of prey come through, we can climb to get out of its way. Obstacle avoidance standard, flight mode, skills, and we got to reboot. Cool. Return type is GPS. Return height, I want to bring that up to 145. Drone looks away from return. Return speed 15 mile an hour. Lights. I'll go strobe. Controller, gimbal speed, I'm going to bring that up to 50%. Flight speed. Control mode is mode 2, which is what I want. Alright. So we got the aircraft ready to go. Begin flight. Okay, drone launching. Time is 16:16. Forward, back, left, right, yaw, climb, descend. All right, controls are good. Okay, so I think our first one is straight and level flights. So what I'm going to do is push this forward, and I'm going to go at a snail's pace because we got 20 minutes to fly.
What was our battery percent on takeoff?
98. Okay, so we have flown out there about, 60 feet? We're going to bring it back. So I'm going to fly backward. I don't know if you can see, man. You can see the wind's getting that drone. All right. So we got the drone back over us. I want to rotate 90 degrees, and we're going to rinse and repeat so that, one, I can show you that, hey, I can fly sideways. I know my orientation. Push it forward just a little bit. All right, so we're going to return back, flying right. Okay, drone's above us. So again, I want to rotate 90 degrees. And now we're going to fly backward. Okay, I think that's good enough. Now we're going to fly forward to bring it back to us. And once again, I'm going to yaw left 90 degrees. Correction, I'm going to yaw right 90 degrees. That way we can say I've done straight and level flight in every which way. So this way we're going to have to fly out right. I think that's far enough. So I'm going to fly left, bring it back. Yeah, drifting over there, wasn't she? All right. Okay, I think that concludes our straight and level flight. What's our next pattern?
Our next pattern is square pattern.
Square pattern. Okay. So I want to yaw. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to fly over here. We'll fly over the ball field here. Okay, so you got the drone over here. You can't even see what the drone's doing. Okay, you just have to take my word for it. We're gonna fly left, moving the control left, and we got a tree pretty close. So I'm gonna rotate. I'll just fly forward, and then what we'll do. I think that's far enough forward. I'm gonna fly right. I think that's far enough. Now we're gonna fly backward, and that should complete that square. So what I'll do, once it comes back to the starting point, I think that's close enough right there. All right, so now from here, we're just gonna go forward. I wanna do the same thing, but we're going in a counterclockwise, whereas the first time around we went clockwise. And because of time, I'm not getting in any hurry at making these patterns. So I'm flying left now. I think that's far enough over. We'll go a little bit further here. Okay. Now we'll fly backward. That's good enough. We're going to fly right. All right, and that completes 2 squares. So let's do this. Let's fly forward. I think that's far enough. Now I'm going to yaw left 90 degrees. Oops, too far. All right, now we're going to fly forward again. I think that's far enough. We're going to yaw 90 degrees to the left. We'll fly forward again. Okay, I think that's far enough. We're going to yaw left again, 90 degrees. Fly forward. All right, that completes that square. I tell you what, just for shits and grins, I want to fly backward. We're going to yaw right. I'm going to fly backward again. That's probably far enough. Yaw right, 90 degrees. All right, yaw right. Fly backward again. And we are pretty close back. Think of another way we can do that.
Well, you just flew it backwards.
Yeah, flip forward. What's our next maneuver?
Next maneuver is point of interest.
Point of interest, okay. So I'll tell you what, we got a light over here. I'm gonna go over there. I wanna get some altitude so I know I'm clearing everything. I'm gonna tilt the camera down just a little bit. And I don't know, Brian, if you can see this or not, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use that light fixture for the ball field as my point of interest. Let's get a little bit more altitude. I don't think there's anything I could possibly collide with, but all right. So I'm going to start my first rotation to the left. So what we do is I'm flying to the left, and then I'm finding that sweet spot where I'm moving the left stick to the right so that I can keep that light fixture as centered in my screen as possible. You looking okay up there? How are we looking with those birds?
Birds are no problem.
Birds are no problem, okay.
Bring it in.
I'm sorry?
If you're getting over the road, you want to bring it in.
Okay.
There you go.
So far, I've kept that light fixture pretty well centered in my screen. I'm not going real fast. Speed is not what we're after here. We're just after precision and proving concept that I know how to do it. Point of interest. I'm about 3/4 of the way through. Okay, bird is right almost above us. So that's one complete rotation. So now, just because I'm going to, we're going to go the other direction. And so what I'm doing is my right stick, I'm pushing to the right, and the left stick, I am moving to the left. Once again, trying to find that sweet spot where I keep that light fixture centered in my screen. Sorry, Brian, I gotta lower the controller down. That sun's getting in my screen, making it hard to see. So I am about halfway around my orbit. That light fixture has stayed pretty well in the center of my screen. I think FEMA would be proud if we ever get to work with them again. All right, we're coming around. I am now about 3/4 of the way through my orbit. And I should be just about there. There's our aircraft. So we've made 2 complete orbits, 1 in each direction. Sir, what's our next maneuver?
This one is approach
approach to landing.
What's our battery percentage?
Battery percentage is at 55%. So, aircraft is fairly close to us here. It's 121 feet. So, I'm going to keep it pretty much like this. I know how to fly an aircraft, but for cap purposes, I'm going to bring the aircraft tail end towards us. Now, once I get it over us, we are going to land on the pavement, but I'm going to do a 180 because it's going to have to come over the top of me, and the pavement's over here behind me. So, I want to go ahead and start bringing altitude down. I want to fly backward, and it's coming over the top of us, so I want to go ahead and do a 180, and I want to bring it down just a little bit more before I start calling landing. And I want to bring it over here to the pavement. All right, landing. And it's landing on the asphalt. And as it comes down, I have a little bit of minimal control, but we're free of objects, free of everything. Is there anything else that we need to do on maneuvers?
Recovering from unusual flight attitude.
Okay, so what we're going to do, I want to take back off, and I want to hand the controllers over to Devin. Devin is going to fly the aircraft somewhere. I'm not going to watch. And then he's going to hand the controls back to me, and I got to figure out how to bring this thing back home and what orientation we're flying in. So, aircraft will be launching soon. Launching. Got one motor, does not want to start. Okay, there it goes. All right, so I want to get some altitude. We're going to do a control check. Forward, backward, left, right, yaw, altitude. All right, Mr. Nordell, if you would please, sir. I'm handing the controls off to Nordell, your aircraft.
My aircraft?
So he's going to fly the aircraft somewhere, and he's going to hand the controls back to me. And then I'm not going to look at the screen. What I'm going to do is do a control check to see which direction the aircraft flies. And then from that point, all right, my aircraft. United States Air Force Auxiliary, sir. We are doing a qualification. Can I ask you guys to maybe step away, and then we'll talk to you later? All right, thank you, sir. Okay, so I can see that the aircraft is over here. So if I fly left, it flies away from me. If I fly right, it flies almost towards me. So what I'm going to do is I want to yaw left. I went a little further than I wanted. I want to fly backward over to the asphalt here, and we're going to land the aircraft. All right. So we are over the asphalt. We are clear of spectators for the moment. And I'm going to bring it over here. There's no traffic, no pedestrians. I'm going to come down, and I'm going to announce launching aircraft, landing aircraft. Aircraft landing. That leaves blowing through the air. And aircraft is safely on the ground. Are there any other flight maneuvers?
Yeah. Letting it shut down.
Okay, so we took off at 16:16. It is currently 16:33, so I got to fly for, what is that?
3 more minutes.
20 minutes. So we're going to take off and land. We're going to take off and we're going to fly for fun. So begin flight. Okay. Got a car coming. Try to get off the ground before they get here. Launching. Battery was 43 when I landed. Okay, aircraft is safely off the ground. altitude. And it doesn't like something. I can fly with that altitude, so we'll go with it. Alright, we're going to go over here to the ball field so that we know it's safe. And let's see. Got a tree over here. Let's orbit around it. I find orbiting around bigger objects a little bit easier than smaller fixtures like that light. Alright, so we're going to do a left. Okay, that's one orbit. What's that?
So we're there.
We're there. Okay. Well, we'll go around the other direction then. Okay, so I've done an orbit around this tree in both directions. So 1616, that means that 1646 I'm done. So it's currently 1638. Let's do a square pattern around that tree. What do you say? All right, so I'm going to fly square up with the tree. I'm going to fly left. Okay, so we're past the tree. I'm going to yaw right, and we're going to fly left. Battery percentage right now is at 27%, so I'm hoping that we can get the full 20 minutes in before we have to shut her down. Rotate 90 degrees to the right, and then we're going to continue flying to the left. You can see some of the tree or leaves are starting to turn. All right, so I think we're far enough. You still good? I want to do a turn to the right, y'all right, and then now we're going to go left. And then once again, we're going to yaw right and fly left. And that's that rotation. So, where are we on time? We got 6 more minutes. All right.
Well, you said you took off at 16:16, so 16:36 would be 20 minutes.
Did I not do my 16? So 26, 36. Yes, sir, you are correct. Okay, I got some extra time in today, Brian. I wanted to make sure that we didn't have to add more time. All right, well, let's land this aircraft and make sure that I've satisfactorily completed everything. I'm going to fly forward. I know it'll be tail to us when I come down for landing. All right, and we're going to bring her down. So I think I flew a little bit further than I wanted to. I'm going to bring it back just a little bit. All right, we are clear of traffic and spectators, so I am going to call landing, and we're going to bring the aircraft down. I want to see if I can't bring it a little bit closer so I don't have to walk as far. Doesn't like me doing that. Okay. Aircraft is safely on the ground. All right, sir, 19 is our battery percentage.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you can see on, well, here, go ahead and finish your thing. Is there anything else that you can think of we need to complete?
Well, we've done our recovery. We did landing and shutdown. All of our maneuvers are done. I think we have covered everything.
Okay. So, Brian, that concludes my Form 5. If there's any questions or anything else that we need to cover, you know how to get a hold of me. Or maybe we'll see you on a Tuesday meeting one of these days. Talk to you later, buddy.